The suspect was identified by the Irish Independent, a newspaper, as an immigrant from Algeria. Riots ensued. Some of the rioters were against immigration. The response of Irish politicians is to pass hate crime legislation, targeting not only individuals but also social media for any, and I quote, offense of preparing or possessing material likely to incite violence or hatred against persons or account of their protected characteristics, end quote. Some of those characteristics are national or ethnic origin, as well as transgender and a gender other than those of male and female. In other words, hate crimes. Arson, robbery, assault, and crimes against property, all things that happened during the riot, are already against the law. The victims of those crimes suffer the same whether the motivation of the criminal was hate, affective altruism, or any other ideological motivation. Enhancing the penalty because of hate being a motivation does nothing to benefit the victim. The proposed laws would, however, significantly throttle freedom of the speech and press. That's because one of the key features of the bill says social media companies can avoid being held in violation of the proposed law by agreeing to regulation of their content by the Irish government. In short, giving the government of Ireland censorship authority. Of course, the social media companies are all global, so censorship by Ireland is de facto worldwide censorship. Is Ireland doing this on its own? Doubtful. The voluminous language of the Patriot Act in the U.S. was already written and sitting on the shelf, ready to be enacted in the case of a terrorist attack. 9/11 provided the excuse. Riots in Dublin, ostensibly linked to nationalistic Irish sentiments, are providing the excuse in this instance. There is no direct evidence, but I would say it's a safe bet that anti-free speech ideologues in Europe and the US are being very helpful to the Irish politicians pushing this Orwellian legislation. In the years before internet, news with any possibility of mass dissemination was limited to 3 Federal Communications Commission regulated and controlled TV and radio networks, and a small handful of national newspapers, which were de facto controlled as well. When the internet made it possible for anyone with a Facebook or Twitter account to become their own news outlet with the capability of reaching millions, real free speech had a brief period in which to blossom. Politicians didn't like it. I remember Hillary Clinton publicly lamenting the internet for lacking the oversight that the government has over legacy mass media. The politicians are desperately trying to get that control back. Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi and the other principals at Public are working hard to expose them and their government censorship complex. We wish them well. This is Richard Fields with Report from the Fields. See you next week.